Hi everyone, welcome to my back deck. I think this might be the last Project Pan coaching video that I will do for now, unless another idea pops into my head. I've talked through a lot of stuff already, so if you haven't seen my first 4 videos in this series, I would really encourage you to kind of look back at them. I don't think that you have to watch them in order per se, but I feel like I've just talked through a lot of different topics and they kind of overlap and extrapolate on each other. So I think it would be good for you if you kind of want a full view of my project panning experiences to kind of look through there. Basically, I put the series together because one, I am actually a coach in real life. I coach a sports team, and I think I just want to share some of my thoughts and encouragements to anybody who's project panning, wanting to get into project panning, in the process of project panning. In this video in particular, potentially ending project panning, and just encourage you in wherever you are in your journey. I've been project panning for like 7 or 8 years now, and I think I've picked up a lot of different things here and there. I've struggled a lot here and there. I've had my ins and outs with project panning, but I view project panning very much as more of a lifestyle and a mindset, and not so much just like a cool challenge. So I think that a lot of my thoughts here come from me really going through the ebbs and flows of trying to maintain project panning as a lifestyle, as someone who sees project panning more as something where it's like I just don't I just don't have a lot of excess in my life. And yeah, so let me get into it. Sorry, air conditioning is kicking in again. Even though I'm sitting outside, I should turn that on off, but that's fine. So I'll just talk through that. Of course, I'm also sitting outside, so excuse any other noises that you might hear, like the dog barking a little earlier. Okay, so this video is gonna be about Project Pan burnout, taking a break from Project Pan. Do you feel like quitting Project Pan? How do you get through those feelings? I actually watched a few videos of people who announced that they were quitting Project Pan. I feel like oftentimes content creators just kind of like fade out when they're kind of taking a break or whatever from Project Pan, and then we've always heard, and I do it too. It's like, oh, sorry, like I haven't been updating for a few months, for a year, whatever, and sometimes they come back and sometimes they don't, but I think that that's just a common sentiment once you get into project panning, is like, does this end? And I kind of explained why it doesn't end for me. But yeah, like, does it end? Should I quit? Is it getting too hard? Is it overwhelming? So I think it is a little bit of that, like kind of what I was just touching on. Is it like, are you trying to make it more into a lifestyle and a practice then, or is it just a grind for you? I think some people approach project panning as very much like, I need to dive into these challenges. I need to be using them as much as I can. I need to be stuck on these products, on these 10 products every single day until they're done, and it can get boring. I personally have some ADHD tendencies. I am not diagnosed formally, but I've definitely noticed some, and I have been working with a professional in terms of kind of identifying those and kind of working through, like, is it an actual hurdle for me? But anyways, I have some ADHD tendencies, so I even myself know myself to a point where I can't be using the same thing all the time until it's done. And while a product might be like, the intentions of a company, well, one is for you to buy it. At the end of the day, it's to buy it. But you would think that they would put it in a packaging so that you would use it up to the end. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't think their intention is to be like, you're gonna buy this, it's gonna be so special that you're gonna use this every day until it's done and repurchase. Of course, that would be their goal, but it's just not the reality of makeup consumerism now, in terms of makeup usage now. So I think with that in mind, I think it's also kind of flipped project panning on its head, and not so much been about like, I need to finish up products. For me, it's become just like, just get use on the products, just be touching on my products, just be enjoying my products more than anything else. So I think once I kind of unlocked that for myself, that what it looks like for me to enjoy my products, and a lot of that is through remixing things, repackaging things, frankening things whenever I feel like I am feeling like it's more of a grind. That's helped a lot to kind of break out of that feeling like it's a grind, it's just boring, it's getting even frustrating because you don't get like fresh new experience as often as you would like. like I think some some structure is good for a lot of us, but I think people have different levels of structure that they that they can really tolerate. So I think that's something that you kind of need to identify for yourself, is like if you're feeling like you are feeling like quitting or wanting to take a break, like kind of identify kind of what about project planning is really making you feel that way, because you can totally back off. You can take a break from your challenges, because I think challenges are just an aspect of project planning and not the the full like like the actual concept of it. What am I trying to get at? If you know what I mean, right? Like the heart of project planning is not necessarily about the challenges. The challenges is just one of the ways that you can get into project planning. Um, or even is it like the grind of like putting out updates if you're a content creator? Like then maybe it's not about that. Maybe take a break from putting out content, because different people have different levels of content creation. I personally take it really chill. What you see here is what you get. I don't edit. I don't put up graphics, but I know a lot of people do, and it's really exciting to put up graphics, do the weights, do the pop-ups and everything like that. But if that's what's making you pause project planning, then maybe just pause on that part, but still maybe think about continuing to pursue project planning at the heart and essence of what it is. Um, I mean, of course, take a break when you need a break. I think for a lot of people, it is hard to kind of zoom out and step back from their experience of project planning. If it's a really, really intense project planning kind of stint, you might really actually have to take a break so that you can step away from that mindset, from that really intense mindset, and slowly be able to figure out like what project planning means for you, or and to decide whether or not you want to step back into it, or you take actually a designated break. I did that a little while ago, where I just said for 1 week I'm just going to step away from all of my project pan products. I'll just use what I want to use, and it was actually kind of hard at first. I remember I wanted to keep reaching for my project pan products because I was used to that. My mind was almost wired to just gravitate towards those, which is great. But I think it was also challenging. It was nice to get that challenge of being like, I can reach for other things, and kind of engage the creative and just the creative side of makeup again. I think that was really, really fun. So don't lose sight of that, especially if that's what drew you to makeup in the first place, is the creative aspect, the artistry aspect. Don't lose sight of that. Take a break from project panning, or at least like create spaces and moments where you can continue practicing that and not feel like you have to be using things just because you want to hit pan or see the end of it or whatever, right? Like the end will come eventually. I don't think anyone is going to hold you to, other than like if you said like you want it done by a certain date, but like if it's not reasonable, like don't push yourself for it. Project panning, I think there's a little bit of pressure in terms of like make sure you stick with what you commit to, but um it shouldn't be high pressure by any means. um I'm not sure why I wrote this part in. I'm going to skip that for now and maybe come back to it. um I think another one is project panning. I think just I wrote here like don't slip on your influences. I think what I meant by that was sometimes it's really easy to let influencers come back, content creators come back into my life, or subscribe to something, and like even maybe someone who is seems to be kind of focused on project panning, but they still post reviews or they still post things that might be triggering for me. So sometimes I just need to make sure that I'm not like that I kind of continue to do a review on that type of thing. The next thing I wrote down here is to the goal is to enjoy, at least for me, like the my project planning goal is to enjoy the products in my collection and what I own right now. I think if there's anything that it's kind of like that uh, Marie Kondo type feeling, right? Like if it doesn't bring me joy, then get rid of it. Maybe not quite that, but I need to find a way to enjoy it if that's the case. Like give it some time, and so I think sometimes people do run into project planning burnout, and I have as well, because I've just lost that feeling of enjoyment. I'm just like dragged down. So I think to kind of tap into that again, and again, maybe if you need a break to kind of get there, you need to do that. Um, and honestly, sometimes taking a break is a good sign. It means that you've made progress. By that, I mean that I think for some people, they think, and it could very well possibly is like they've gotten to a point in their project planning experience where they feel more in control of some of those problem areas that they had in the past. Maybe it's a certain category of makeup or whatever, but maybe it's a mindset or an approach, or kind of their spending or whatever. Um, but if like I felt this recently is like, why am I project panning, or why am I so focused on project panning and some of the challenges I was involved with and stuff like that, when I don't really feel tempted to spend, and I don't really feel like I'm bringing that many new products into my collection. I feel like I'm enjoying things. So I felt like I was hitting a lot of milestones that I had for myself. um so I think that's why it's another reason why it's so important to reflect as well, is to maybe at the beginning of your project planning journey is be like, what is my ideal experience through project planning? What kind of are the goals? And then, down the line, you're able to kind of look back at that and say like, oh, I actually like hit some of those milestones and I've made progress in those. I think there's always going to be aspects that aren't completely perfect. And there's, for me, there's relapses essentially back into kind of my old mentality. But knowing that I've been able to get past that has given me a lot of hope, and has uh in certain seasons like right now where I'm just like, I don't know how much I really need to be deeply involved into project planning and thinking about it. I was almost thinking about it constantly when I was really kind of in the depths of it. um but now I'm like not as much, which is great. It's like kind of definitely where it's a better, it's where I want to be more or less. But I also don't want to lose sight of project planning because it could very easily slip. And just remember to be gracious with yourself, right? Like goals shift and change over time. Like the way that I approach my makeup and the way that I want my makeup collection to look like has changed drastically over the years. I thought I had one idea and then it wasn't, and then it's now in this state and now it's that. But it's just like the whole thing is so dynamic. And I think that's one thing that's so beautiful about it, but also so frustrating, is because I feel like I want to hone in on this one goal, but then it keeps moving. And so I think just being willing to shift some of those goals, right? Like maybe it's away from finishing things, but more into just using things. Maybe it is from just using things into actually finishing things, right? Actually getting packaging out of your collection. So I've kind of shifted between those here and there in my project planning journey, and it's definitely been frustrating at times, but I think it's also been really good in a lot of sense too. Um, and I think that's actually a good segue into kind of my last kind of topic here, is for at least what I see is that in my own panning journey, this is more reflection for myself, is marks that my project panning journey is working. And I don't know if these are similar to yours or not. So sorry if I slip and say my versus yours. I don't want to put that on you, but it's just kind of how I wrote down things. I think I was thinking your a little bit more, but I think I'm really talking about me. So your as in you, Jamie, through the viewfinder right now. Okay. So for me, it's one of them was just purchasing less beauty products, kind of on a regular basis. I would say that's true. I feel like I still bring in some things, but I think a lot of the things I bring in now are more, yeah, just more like skincare stuff, and not so much beauty color products. So that's actually been a huge win for me. I feel like for me, I'm more going to be consistently using up skincare products than I would color products. So that's been a huge win for me. I think recently even I was able to like put down some color products I was about to buy. I was like, I don't need this. And I often find that I'm able to, remix, refranken, repurpose color products into some of my primers, or clear, not clear, but like non-color products, to be able to create a color product that works for me. So that's something there. Another success for me has to be less tempted with like fads, launches. I don't know if fads really a word we use now, but kind of the stuff that's just like trending. I think I often got sucked into that. I was like, I want to try that. I want to try this trend. I want to try that one. And I just want to get a taste of what everyone's talking about. But at the end of the day, I'm realizing like I just need to use something that works for me, that makes me feel confident, and just kind of run with that. I don't need to necessarily need to be living someone else's makeup journey, if you know what I mean. Another one success for me is looking forward to actually enjoying my collection, rather than finding gaps. I think that for me is I can be a very critical person, in terms of for myself and for my collection. So sometimes I just keep looking for gaps, and then I keep trying to fill those gaps, and I keep finding more, right? There's just always going to be gaps. And so I think now that I've shifted a little bit more into actually enjoying it, I think that's been really cool. To maybe like up front see a gap and be like, oh, I actually have something that can work to fill that gap, and not necessarily have to go outside of my collection to get that. So I think that's been a cool kind of progress for me. Um, a huge success for me has been just less excess in general, like just not feeling there's overhang in my collection. I still feel like there's some categories that I feel like, ugh, I still have like a ton to work through or whatever, but I think it's been a lot less. um and that's been really, really satisfying, and it feels really good to kind of be in a spot where I just don't feel like I have as much excess. Like, it's really this collection that I have in front of me. I keep looking down at it. This is what I kind of use every day and pull from. I don't even pull from everything there. Then I basically have like this bag of stuff, and that's pretty much it. And so it still feels like a lot. Like, I know it'll take me a long time to work through these things. But I do often also bring in like declutters and stuff like that. But I've been doing a lot more declutters. Like, I feel like I'm doing declutters less as well. So I feel like those kind of go hand in hand. Um, and I just been feeling less overwhelmed with my collection. I think when I was in my depths of project planning, I was always just struggling with like, why do I feel so overwhelmed? Why do I feel like I always just have more I need to work through? Why do I feel such an urgency to need to be working through my products? Is it because they're going to expire? Is it because they're going to, I'm going to have to throw them away one day? But nowadays I've been feeling less so, and just kind of more really evaluating things for whether or not they work for me in my collection. I think that's felt really good as well. And as I showed you, my collection now just takes physically less space. Like, uh, I mean, makeup products in themselves aren't very big, but they only take a lot of space if you have a lot of it. And the fact that I really only have those two designated spots for them, it feels really good. Like, I mean, it still feels cluttered just because that's organized chaos is really the name of the game in my life. Um, but it's not an organized chaos of makeup and beauty products everywhere. Like, I feel like relatively in control and know where things are, and I think that just feels a lot better. Like, I can't, like, I feel like just things are more balanced, like in my makeup storage and beauty storage area. Um, and I think one that I'm still working on, and I've seen some progress in this, is just feeling like I have a quote normal consumption. Like, I remember reading a few posts of, um, people on makeup rehab, or people who have struggled with this and kind of stepped into project panning and makeup rehab as kind of a way to kind of help them with some of these things. But them being like, I looked at my mom's collection, or I looked at my grandma's collection, or I looked at this woman on the train or something, where they just like pulled out their little collection, and it's full of pans, and they're using it till the last bit. And there's something so beautiful about that. I think someone who just loves their products and really is committed to them. And I know I'll never be like that in terms of like the small tiny collection. I think I do like having a variety of things, and I think that's just an area I've had to be honest with myself with. um but like, that is the quote normal consumption, or like should be the normal consumption of makeup. It's not where you have multiple items of something, it's where you have multiple pans maybe in your collection, right? And like feeling like things are well loved and well used, and yeah, and like not overthinking it. I think that maybe that's a big one, is like not overthinking makeup and not being overly obsessed with it, because that has been where my mind has been for such a long time. And it almost doesn't feel right sometimes to think about makeup without being overly obsessed. But it's been interesting to realize like I'm very capable of not being obsessed with my makeup collection and with project panning, and feeling like I just need to keep working at products and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's still something I'm working towards. And we'll see kind of what my makeup collection looks like in even a year from now. I would love to continue to cull it down even further. I'd love to continue to feel like I have a better understanding of where I need to be. I really didn't feel like I would be where I'm at now, even just a few years ago. Even when I just like 2 years ago, when I really, really started to hone in again on project panning. Um, but yeah, it's definitely interesting to still be so engaged with project panning, but have a kind of a smaller collection. And I think that's why project panning is for everyone, because it's not just for people who have large collections. It's for people who really are searching and hoping to kind of maintain the project panning mindset, not just for makeup collections or beauty collections, but really all of life, right? Like it can work towards our closets. I know a nail polish might is sometimes a weak point for some people. um yeah, clothing, other home goods and things like that too. I think there's just so many aspects of my own life where I just kind of need to apply some of these things that I've even just said out loud, right? About just enjoying everything that I have, into those things. So yeah, a little bit more reflection in this video than some of my other ones, but I do want to encourage you that, it's something to continue to work towards. It's worth putting in the effort, and it's worth not giving up, especially if you think that it is useful to you. And it might not be called Project Pan for all I know, right? I think there's so many different aspects of this, and so many different approaches to this in so many other ways. But at the end of the day, I hope that you are working towards enjoying the things that you have in your life, makeup, beauty, otherwise. And I hope that this series did make you at least think a little bit, and I hope it encouraged you. I mean, that's really the goal of this. And hopefully it gave you some things to think about, and maybe even some tools, to kind of have in your toolkit as you kind of go through your own project panning journey. So thank you so much for watching through this video, and I hope that you can check out the other ones that I made too. I'll probably be adding on a few more to the series, coming up as I think of them, but I think I covered a lot that's like running through my brain oftentimes, and it feels really good just to be able to share them out loud and to kind of put this out there for you. So thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.